Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Resonant Frequencies. I'm your host, Nand, and on this channel, we explore all things anomalous in very simple terms. Today's episode continues our journey into the Claire world. In our prior episode, we spoke about clairvoyance together and explored some of its gifts that are presented. In today's episode, we're going to talk about clairaudience. Now, as it sounds, clairaudience is all about listening. But before we proceed, if you could hit the subscribe button, the like button, and click on the bell, and spread the word to those that would love to hear about this kind of information. Let's get back to clairaudience. As the term defines itself, the word audient is in there, which means one can hear, in this case, the Akashic records. Now, why do I say in this case? Because we're talking about the Akasha from prior episodes. But in addition to that, one can also hear those souls that are out of body that want to communicate with you directly. So two different kinds of conversations, if you will. There are certain things that we need to do to prepare for such an event. One of those is to find a quiet space and a quiet time. So no cell phones, no text messages, that sort of stuff. No pets moving around and distracting you. And then armed with questions, we can tune in. And typically, and more often than not, we hear a voice that comes through that gives us the answer. So if I were to take a book, open up a certain page, and start reading it, we would know the contents of that book, at least on that page. Same holds true with clairaudience. So if I ask a question, for example, will I miss my airplane flight tomorrow? And the answer will come back. In this case, it's a simple yes-no question, so the answer might come back as a no or a yes. Now, of course, this is a simple question, but there can be an expansion to that answer. No, you will not miss it because traffic going to the airport may be light, and that will come through too. So we haven't talked about really the depth of this quality of understanding the Akasha. And if you're interested, then try this. Again, sit in a very quiet space, no distractions. Then drown out all the sounds that are in your head. And the sounds could be, I'm hungry. The sounds could be, I'm tired. The sounds could be, they're waiting for me. I need to go. Absolutely nothing should be in your head. And when you've achieved that, then you can ask the questions. And as you ask the questions, you'll get the responses. And these are really very accurate if you know how to do it. Certainly, there are some protocols and techniques that are deployed by people that are called readers, in this case, listeners. And we here, in the work that I do with Creative Life Sciences, have protocols that achieve that. The best way to illustrate clairaudience might be with a story. So, let me give you a story that I actually had happen to me quite a few years ago. And the story is very simple. I had the need to meet a person to conduct some business. And we tried our best to combine our schedules to see what would work. And we were unable to do that. And the ending of that interaction was the person said to me, well, I'll be at this hotel in this city, but we're traveling. So the next day I'll be at another city. The third day I'll be at another city. And I said, well, the third city is close enough. Maybe I can meet you there. And he said, no, my schedule's all booked. Well, it didn't work. So I sat down, couldn't have made an appointment with him, and thought, well, I will just leave it to the Akasha to tell me when and where. So several weeks later, I had a need to go to yet another city. A city that I didn't think this person was going to be in. And as I was driving into the city, I heard a voice say to me, "Don't take this road, take that road." And I thought, that doesn't make sense because it'll extend my journey by at least a good 30 minutes. However, I chose to listen. And the directions were coming through. So it was on a highway. I was instructed to change highways, and I followed. Then I was instructed to take an exit, and I followed suit. And the interesting thing is I was having a conversation with what or who I don't know back then. And as I got off the exit, I was told to stay in the left-hand turn lane, which I did. And I made a left turn. And as I was making a left turn, I was thinking, so, where am I being led to? And the voice came back and said, "You see that tall building maybe about half a mile in front of you?" And I kind of mentally nodded. And the voice continued, "Why don't you go to that tall building, park on the side of the building, not on the main entrance side, but on the side of the building, and there you'll find an entry door, and go through the door." And as I got closer, I realized it was a hotel I was driving up to. I followed the instructions, parked on the side, and proceeded to go through that side entry. And as I walked in through the doors, I heard the voice say, "Now make a left turn again and go to the front desk, as they will give you instructions on how to get back to the route that you wanted to go on initially." And as I turned to my right, I noticed a bank of elevators. And just at the right spot, an elevator door opened, and the person that I was trying to contact was right there. Well, needless to say, both of us were surprised, and it took us maybe 5 minutes to settle what we needed to settle. And then I proceeded to the front desk to get my directions and head back to my journey. That is an example of how clairaudience works. Sometimes it's just bi-directional, as I recalled with this story, a conversation, if you will, but it was all inside of my head. And sometimes it's unilateral, which means to say that you are being told and given information. Both qualify, both work. And the journey is wonderful when you just relax, get into the zone, and just listen to the words. In our next episode, we will explore the third component, which is clairsentient. I hope you joined us then. Thank you for joining us this episode. Until our next, have a wonderful day.